Hi, in this week's show, we're going to talk about how to avoid bad conclusions on your part. So stick with us. Hi, this is Tom and welcome to this week's Thrive in 5. This week we're going to talk about how to avoid bad conclusions. And one of the things I find in my own life, and I also see it in the lives of my clients, is the ease with which we create bad conclusions based on this whole scientific thing called correlation and causation. You might have thought of this before, you might not have. You probably took it in science class at some point in your history. But it's really important to understand that there are data points that we're dealing with. There's different kinds of data we're dealing with. And because we as humans are wired for pattern recognition, and because that pattern recognition tends to work in us a lot, what happens is we look at two pieces of data that are happening in our world, and we correlate them automatically. It just seems to happen. We tend to do that. So A and B are these two pieces of data, and correlation seems to connect the two. So there's some kind of mutual relationship between two or more data points, and that's what correlations are. And so when you think about correlation, you think about, okay, here's one particular example of correlation. Over the last 5 years, Internet Explorer usage has dropped dramatically. At the same time, murder rates have dropped dramatically. So we see that over the last 5 years, Internet Explorer rates, the usage of the Internet Explorer browser has dropped, and so has the murder rate. And so that correlation in data points leads us to, in pattern recognition, often create a causation thinking or thought process. So it would be easy then to actually suggest that because A connects to B, A is the cause of B. And so it might be easy, and I'm giving you a significantly bizarre one in order to help you connect this information. Internet Explorer use and the murder rate has dropped. While they're correlated, because Internet Explorer use has dropped does not necessarily cause the murder rate to drop. They just have a correlation between those data points. And yet this is the kind of stuff that happens all the time. So what people will then think is because Internet Explorer use has dropped, thus the murder rate has dropped. This happens a lot of times in business. So when by coaching clients, I might hear something like, sales are dropping, a salesperson's sales have dropped, thus the sales of the organization are affected by this bad salesperson. So that's the cause. The cause of the bad organizational sales is bad person sales. This might be another thing that happens because your head just automatically connects those two. But what you have to know to avoid bad decisions and bad conclusions is that correlation does not imply causation. And causation is, I do one thing and it automatically or it actively creates an effect in this other thing. And so it's very easy to connect correlation to causation, but a lot of times when you do that, you come to a bad conclusion because that's not truly the case. And yet because we're sort of wired to do that, it becomes easy. So how do you avoid that? How do you avoid making bad conclusions from correlations that you see in your world? Well, I think you have to understand that there are really a multiplicity of ways to look at correlation. The first correlation thing that kind of connects to cause is A causes B. So one way of thinking about, say, this chart is that A, which is Internet Explorer use, as it declines, it does cause the murder rate to drop. So that's one way of looking at these two data points. The second data point might be because the murder rate has dropped, so has Internet Explorer usage. Well, when you think about both of those two, that seems completely illogical. So A and B, And the third point, A and B are from another cause. So these two things occurring are actually coming from something external to that. And so we don't know what these are because you can't truly back this stuff up, but it's very easy to assume things, but it might be from something completely different. 4 says some combination of one, A causes B, B causes A, or A and B are from another cause, may be what's happening. So there could be a whole layer of other stuff, so causes that are working on each other. And when you think of sort of the natural cycle with prey and predators, there tends to be this combination effect happening. So the population of deer is decreasing, the population of wolves is increasing, and some of the environmental effects. So you're actually getting a combination of A causes B, B causes A and B are from another cause. So you get those happening, and so this weird combo effect. And then finally, A and B are not related, it's just purely coincidence, and that's what this ends up being. So when you go into the situations in your life and in your business where you are naturally drawn to see a correlation, and as a result of that correlation create some cause and effect belief or conclusion, pull back a little bit and go, am I really looking at all of the possible options here? Is A really causing B? Is B causing A? Or is there a weird combination of stuff that I need to be aware of such that I do not make a bad conclusion, which often leads to bad decisions? I hope that helps you to thrive, because day in, day out, I see it in my own life. I can very easily look at 2 data points, somehow connect them together in some correlation, and then determine a cause based on it. And after I stand back and look at it, I realize it was really a bad conclusion. I hope that helps. We'll talk to you next time.